I'm Kailan reporting here for Bago, and this is
Jay Weston from Expletive.
And we're here to talk about Exo One. Do you want to explain what it is? I don't think I could do it justice, honestly.
So Exo One is like a surreal exoplanetary adventure game where the player controls a strange spherical alien craft that can manipulate the laws of gravity.
Yeah, like you basically roll around and pick up speed through like gravity manipulation and things.
Yeah. So you've got sort of a lot of traditional controls where you can just kind of move around on the ground, similar to like any car vehicle, and sort of fly through the air like a glider or a plane. But the main way to build up like a lot of momentum and speed is using that gravity manipulation, so you can make the craft super heavy and you really like fly down hillsides, and then when you turn off the high gravity mode you're in sort of low gravity and you can then shoot off of hillsides kind of into the clouds and glide around, and the whole game is really that sort of getting in that flow of going on the terrain and soaring through clouds and stuff like that.
I mean, it's interesting you talk about terrain. It's like because there are various planets, and you know, space is vast and kind of infinite. And so what I was curious about was I tried a level where I was just rolling around rocks and hilly plains and like building up speed. And there was even like a strange part at the beginning where, you know what, I'm just going to leave it for the viewers and not spoil what happens right at the beginning. But what I was curious about was environmental effects. You know, is there rain and wind and things like that that can maybe alter how you traverse, like maybe even ice or maybe even fire?
Yep, there's rain at the moment, which doesn't really do much. The game's definitely, I mean, there's sort of 2 planets so far, and there are there's weather effects just for visuals and just for the, you know, portraying the planet as a wet, raining planet. There's lightning. The lightning has some gameplay implications, which maybe we won't spoil either. So yeah, there's a lot of different terrain types. I haven't yet really explored too much changing the way the craft handles based on the terrain, but at the moment, sort of the way the craft moves is that when you do the gravity manipulation and slide down hills, it's like zero friction to really help that get the player moving as fast as possible across the terrain. So but yeah, like there might be weather effects further down the track, like wind, directional wind, or like wind at a certain altitude where if you get too high it pushes you back away from your objective, so maybe that's a level where you're more like keeping to the ground and stuff like that. So yeah, weather will definitely make some impact, and that'll change based on the planet.
So you talk about how there's only 2 planets currently. Is there a planned length for Exo One?
I guess slightly hard to say. I sort of timed for the Rezzed demo. I timed it so it would only take 5-10 minutes to get to the first objective to take you to the next planet. Yeah. But of course, when you're learning the game, you're quite a bit slower. But I'm hoping for sort of a dozen planets, maybe sort of 15 minutes per planet. So it might only take 2 or 3 hours, like a fairly short game. But I personally like games that are pretty short. You can get the whole experience in not a lot of time. So yeah.
Yeah, so just like something that you can maybe do in a sitting like in an evening.
Yeah, for sure. Just like watching a movie or whatever. But I guess because I'm sort of approaching 40, you know, I don't have a lot of time, and I like games that I can finish quickly. And I guess also because I'm a one-man developer, I can't sort of spend years and years and years making huge amounts of content. So it's kind of...
Yeah, it's like resources and time and things like that.
It's a bit of a blend of both, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So, when I was playing through, I just found it incredibly ambient, you know, and just relaxing and soothing, and almost in the sense of that it is so absurd that I can't really fully grasp of what's going on, but I don't need to. It's like relaxed and kind of laid back, and I found that interesting. It reminded me of like 2001 Space Odyssey. I wondered if there were any other influences.
Yeah, I suppose the main influence for the game mechanics is like games like Tiny Wings and Journey. You know, those sequences where you're kind of cruising down sand dunes and like flying through the air, so that was a big one. But in terms of the theme and like space, I've always been, you know, big into sci-fi. I'm a huge Star Trek nerd, and I've always followed a lot of the NASA programs. Kepler in particular is a huge one. That's like the exoplanet discovery thing. I followed that really closely. Had like the iPad app that showed, you know, the exoplanet kind of tracking in front of the star, and yeah, and that they would always sort of, you'd have astronomers or scientists kind of looking at what these planets might be based on, you know, how far from the star they are, or and yeah, you'd have people sort of predicting all these crazy things like diamond suns and tidally locked planets and how, you know, how crazy they'd be. And so I hope to have like a really wide range of planets based on a lot of that sort of, yeah, science fiction and science fact. And
so it sounds like it could offer like tons of possibilities of like what types of planets we could come across, you know, like the diamond sun that you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have a full range of planets, everything from, you know, terrestrial Earth-like planets to like the ice planet, which is the second one, you know, gas giants, water worlds, just, yeah, anything I can kind of imagine. I suppose like because the craft is so, it's like this abstract, spherical, metallic, strange little craft. It's not got any wheels that are going to fall off of it or glass that's going to break, so I can really just take that craft and put it sort of anywhere you can imagine, and let players fly around freely. So I hope to take, yeah, full advantage of that kind of part of the game.
Yeah, just go absolutely nuts in terms of like finding ways to roll the ball as fast as you possibly can and glide over the wonderful landscape there is.
Yeah, and even some that have no landscape, like the gas giants, where it's just nothing but clouds. So like layers of different clouds to fly through. And
so maybe like even like a platforming opportunity, trying to jump through like the small particles and areas of ice, from ice to ice on a mostly like gas giant planet.
Yeah, for sure.
I also noticed there were like flickers of like this narrative unfurling, and again, I don't want to spoil some of the things I saw seeping through, but it was wonderful in its own wonderful way. Could you explain how the narrative will be delivered through Exo One?
Yeah, so currently it's there's a voiceover that sort of describes the situation from the beginning, so the player kind of knows yeah, where they're from and kind of where they're going, and like so I guess at the start you learn that there's an alien signal, and the signal had plans for this spherical craft, and then humanity builds it, and so yeah, that's all delivered via a voiceover narration. And then, like you were saying, there's some sort of weird stuff happening on the planets. So as you encounter some of these alien structures, odd things start happening, and there's some screen effects and sort of almost as if the probe is being maybe accessed by something, and that's kind of a bit of a mystery that's left to players to kind of try and decipher what it means.
So it's not one of those overt narrative where by the end they tell you all the answers and it's all closed and neat and tidy. It's one that's more open and free for interpretation.
I'd say it's a bit of a mix at the moment, and yeah, the story is still sort of under development, but I imagine at the end it'll be a mix of the two.
So another oddity that I was thinking as I was gliding through to the objective is I wondered like how many people would be playing through it, like trying to like speed run it. Do you will you have options for people to visit specific planets to see if they can beat a time set on the planet, and maybe even a leaderboard in some way?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about leaderboards and stuff, especially in the first version, but I can certainly understand some people might be keen to speedrun it and revisit planets. So I imagine there'll be maybe like on the first planet there could be a bit of a hub type system where you can reach different planets, but I haven't thought too hard about that yet. So that might come as like a feature update or something, or maybe for speedrunners I might have something just super simple to begin with, where there's like a time that's recorded somewhere that they can just kind of, you know, say anecdotally I got this, or
yeah, like just take a screenshot and say, yeah, I got this time, and be able to just jump to individual planets that they want to try.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Will you be planning to just do a full release, or will there be an early access version coming soon?
Yeah, I think definitely not early access for the game, just because it's going to be pretty short, and I think early access probably suits games that are more like crafting, where you can kind of replay the game and make different things and have different sort of game mechanic interactions. But I think that this is a sort of game where you're going to finish it in a couple of playthroughs, and I want people to have that whole story experience in one go. And especially if if I try and improve the story or alter it or whatever, I don't want to have people play half a story and then get an update and it's changed. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like watching half a film and then going back later, 6 months later, finally for the second half.
Yeah, exactly.
So will it only be coming to PC, or is there any other formats in mind?
Definitely have PlayStation 4 in mind after PC, because I'm just one person and I haven't released many games just on my own. I suppose, yeah, I'm just thinking PC first, get it out there, and then sort of evaluate, and then hopefully PlayStation after that.
Yeah, see if anyone wants a PlayStation 4 or Vita release or something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
And is there a release date bumbling about? I mean, don't worry if there is. It seems early on.
Yeah, probably end of this year-ish sometime.
Awesome. Do you know where people will be able to find Exo One if they want more information or want to buy the game?
Yeah. So exo-one-game.com, and you can sign up to the newsletter, and I'll tell you when the game's going to come out or when there's any trailers or whatever.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the interview.
Cheers. Thanks very much.